Hi, everybody. My name is Sarah, Pearls of Wisdom and Food with Keto Under 20. And today is Friday with a Friend. And we have Elwood with us today. And Elwood has a great story to tell with lots of don't try this at home, kids. And I look forward to meeting him besides his comments. And so, welcome, Elwood.
Hi, thank you.
I'm so
Nice to
glad
meet
you're
you.
here. It's nice to meet you, too. Um, do you have a Boston accent?
Not much of one. I was actually born in Louisiana, so I I kind of blended when I moved up here.
I guess you did. And I went to the
So
kind of school where proper English meant no accent. And so they worked really hard. You could probably say the F bomb easier than you could say over there.
yeah,
And the teacher's face, the blood drains. No, you don't talk like that. It was funny because I'm East Coast all my life and I never picked it up.
yeah,
Okay. So Elwood is carnivore presently.
yes,
Okay.
100%.
100%. All right. Why don't you tell us what 100% means?
Well, I suppose except for the coffee, but I think coffee's okay. Um, my meals daily consist of hamburger and pork chops generally. Sometimes I mix it up and have a pork shoulder that I'll slow cook ahead of time and then have a little bit throughout the week. But that's all that I eat 7 days a week.
Wow. And do you
So
put anything in your coffee?
no, I do not.
Wow. You
Nothing.
are
So
hardcore. How many pounds of meat do you think you eat a day?
two. I eat two. It's I'll have a little more some days when I'm hungry, but I never have less than 2 pounds.
Okay. And are you a two meal a day or OMAD?
I've been doing one lately. I find that it works pretty good. It's easier, and yeah, it's really not bad. But when I had been doing three a day. I had just been splitting it up. You know, uh, difficulty. Sorry, splitting the meals and uh, but still doing the 2 pounds. Just spread out. But now I do it all at once. Eating the same things. Just and it works out well for me.
Yeah. Yeah. I know that Mike is Carnomad, his new YouTube channel name. He um he does he spreads it out and he has a variety of things with each meal. Do you have like all beef, all pork when you have your OMAD, or is it just, or do you switch it up?
I have two 10-ounce hamburgers and a pork chop, and that's
Mm, yeah.
that's really it. That's every day. Well, I had been doing a majority pork for a time, but I went to mostly beef. Like I had been doing like 2/3 pork. Now I'm doing 2/3 beef. I like that better. But I like the pork for the protein. The protein is much higher than in a fatty hamburger. So that's really why I'm doing that. I'm trying to hit a certain uh, number for protein each day.
Okay. What number is that?
Well, for my weight, if you go by the zero point 0.8 grams per pound of lean mass, I'm shooting for roughly 180 pounds. So that's about 144 grams of protein. So that's like my minimum. If I go over, that's great. Some days I hit 200, but I don't like to go below like the 150 basically.
Okay. Now, so many different touters of keto and carnivore say eat to satiety. Do you eat to satiety or do you eat to clean your plate?
Um, so I've found that 2 pounds of meat fills me up pretty good. So, I don't, so whatever I make, I'll eat. I'm never hungry when I'm done. I occasionally want more. Um, the other day, I had a particularly long day at work. I was hungry, like they say, like worked up an appetite. So I probably ate like 5 pounds of meat that day.
Wow.
But but that's pretty rare. I was just hungry and kept making more food. And it was fine. So, but 2 pounds is usually pretty good for me.
I find that my meat appetite increases in cold weather.
Uh, yeah, maybe. It's cold enough here today, so we'll find out. But
Yeah. All right. So tell us
um,
that story. It piques my interest and will probably pique other people's interest too. And what happened when you were going along and you ended up, well, I'll let you tell the story.
oh, all right. So I came to OMAD carnivore sort of meal, a plan about almost 2 years ago now, and I was 250 pounds, and I'd never heard of OMAD. I came across it. I thought one meal a day sounds good, and then but I was doing a more keto sort of version of it, and then I eliminated plants at some point and lost a bunch of weight. From a period of probably like June to September, I dropped about 70 pounds.
Wow.
I went from 250 to 180. You know, um, I'm not going to say that I did it the right way. I was really using OMAD and diminished appetite to essentially starve myself, and I was eating like 10 ounce, like 1 10-ounce burger per day, but I felt okay, and the weight was just falling off. Like there were like some day, like some weeks, I was losing like 2 pounds a day, and I thought that was pretty cool, So I kept up with it, and then once I hit the 180, which I told myself was my goal, um, I thought that my metabolism had healed itself essentially, and so I I I I thought I could reintroduce so-called normal foods and then keep my weight low. Uh, uh, like my whole life, I mean, I was never obese in a sense, like where, I mean, even like when I was 250 pounds, I didn't look like I was obese or anything. Technically, like by the book, I suppose I was, but um, you know, I'd been naturally thin my whole life. I thought that I had like readjusted to it, so I was adding back in normal foods, and
What was normal foods to you?
um, well, like the bread and the pasta and the cereals and the ice cream and stuff that I like, and I was trying, to manage it. Like, I thought that I could, do it like every other day, or in the beginning it was probably like once a week, and then it was every other day, and then it was just right back into to a normal standard American fare, and yeah, and then I wound up my weight went back up to 225. So from 180, I put on 45 pounds, and then that's when I was finally able to get off the carbs again, and I haven't looked back since. You know.
Wow. So when you began to do it once every couple of days and then it ended up every day, do you feel that you have a carb or sugar or both addiction?
Oh, oh, sure. I mean, I think we all do to a point. It's, I mean, for me, saying no to something is okay, but once I decide to have it, I can't have just a little bit. Like those pints of Ben and Jerry's. I mean, I used to eat one a day, and I'd always tell myself I'll have half and save one, save the rest for tomorrow. But I end up eating the whole thing. And that was a pretty regular occurrence. So
And
you know,
were you still cooking for yourself, or were you enjoying franchise type standard American diet?
uh, when do you mean?
When you were doing that 45-pound gain?
Oh yeah. I mean, I went back into McDonald's, and like just like right, it began you know with good intentions, and then I just went right back into the regular diet. It's hard not to. And
What was that moment? Was it on the scale when you saw when you reached that 45, or was it in your head, or was it a day that you assigned to like this is it? How did you like right your ship?
well, it was actually like when I hit 200 pounds, then I realized that there was a problem, and I said, all right, I'm going to get back on it. The carnivore, one meal a day. And I would try, and then but and actually at that point I was able to cut it back to just having one so-called normal meal a week, probably, or maybe two, but I still gained 25 more pounds before being able to get just back off it completely. And then, but the upside of it was that gave me 6 months of like 6 more months to actually like look into things more. And I learned about like the need for protein, and how the benefits of carnivore. I won't say that calories don't matter, like some people. I mean, like, yeah, like you can certainly eat more, but I think that calories do matter to a point. So I decided to change it up, and like just try to get healthy. And if the weight came off, then um, that was good. So
That was really good. You're very lucky that you caught yourself. It doesn't sound like it was holiday driven. It sounds like it was just, I reached that weight. I thought I could eat normal and dot, dot, dot.
essentially, that's what it was. Yeah, I guess it was like Labor Day. We went to a party that we go to every year, and like that's where I first started sampling like the regular foods, desserts and things. And yeah, it was just downhill from there.
Mm.
But so then, the time frame kind of it was essentially 6 months. So then in March or April of last year, 2018, I just started eating exclusively meat, hamburgers, pork chops. That's it. And you know, I 20 pounds came off like right away, and then it's like just sort of been creeping down a little bit here and there. I'm not trying to. I'm not actively trying to lose weight. I feel much better now than I did previously when I was 180. Uh, yeah, I, I was, I was under eating initially the first time, and I realize that now, and there's like really no need for it.
And so today, You just have your food. It sounds like it's not playing in your head. You just enjoy your food. You come home from work, and you probably start early, end early with your day.
I work 8 to 4
Hmm.
essentially, and then I come home and eat then. You know, um,
You're happy.
yeah, it works out. So,
One of my clients um, slowly increased her beef protein or her beef amount, and she wasn't having any beef at all. And then she began by having like 2 ounces. She went to 3 ounces. She went to 4 ounces. And now she has beef twice a day. And when she doesn't have beef twice a day, she feels she doesn't sleep that soundly. Does beef give you sound sleep, do you think?
well, I mean, I have no trouble sleeping. Um, I don't know what I would attribute it to. Um, and when I wake up, if I've slept for 2 hours or six, I'm wide awake within 2 minutes. It's it's really amazing. Well, the exception being, all right. So I just said I was 100% carnivore, right? Well, the other day you posted your video of your meal, and it was an omelet, as you said, full of cheese and this and that. So I thought, well, people eat cheese. I like cheese. So that night I had, maybe 3 or 4 pieces of like cheddar cheese and Monterey Jack, and then I went to bed. The next morning when I woke up, I felt like I was hungover. Like my head was just like so like thick, like just I I couldn't think straight, and the only thing I changed up was having that cheese, so it's
Wow.
like really bizarre. But and I always liked cheese. I've always had it, but I don't do dairy now or cheese. Like that was probably the first piece I've had in almost a year. So
Interesting that your body had that reaction for sure, and you didn't have a sensitivity to it before. But I guess when you're strict, and you are strict carnivore, that wow, it's like, what are you doing to me? Giving me this foggy head in the morning.
it was
So
kind of
that's out. The
strange.
cheese is
Yeah,
out.
it
It
is.
goes into the office refrigerator.
Yeah, I was happy without it, and I'm fine now. So
Yeah, yeah. A lot of people don't watch my OMAD for reasons just like that. It gives them what they think is a good idea, but their digestion has another plan. So
oh, I think your
Elwood,
foods look great, but
oh, thank you. I just try to give awareness, and it's so funny because when I rewatch them, that's a tongue twister. You'd think these plates were like this big.
they
They
do
come out
look
so
big.
big, and
But
they
yeah.
aren't. They're bread and butter size.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And somebody said, well, can't you put a ruler there or something? So I had a quick thought the other day. I've just put my Comcast clicker next to the food and says, well, this is my clicker.
Yeah.
Um, so who do you listen to for motivation on YouTube, Facebook, and other places?
Well, YouTube is the only one I do. Uh, I don't do other social media, but I I like listening to Mike, um, the artist formerly known as Keto Mad, and Jim, and you. I watch your videos every day. I know we're not following the same plan, and I might not be the typical person who watches your videos, but I like that you get up and you do the same thing every day, because even though I'm not doing exactly that, I do the same thing, and seeing someone else who follows the same routine just kind of makes it easier.
And you have that
You
with
know?
Jim from Beating Obesity too. He's a
Yeah.
pretty consistently steady person. And when people comment to me, it usually is about the consistency. It's not what I'm eating. It's that I'm waking up every day and repeating. And I
Right.
think that's that turtle where it just wins the race. I'm not being pulled in or pulled out with anything trending. I have a lot of people that try out different things like the egg fast and they get into the equipment part and they get into the macros like Mike from Carnomat. He was saying he was drinking coconut oil in the beginning because he had to get those macros absolutely right. Like there's a scientist in our belly that's
I
saying
did
you're a
that
couple of percent up.
essentially.
Oh,
Yeah,
you did?
it initially, well, like you find out about keto, it's high fat, right? So like you just jump into it with the fat bombs and eating the butter and drinking oil, and but then it just gets kind of weird. And so did we lose you for a second? No.
Yeah, you did just for a second.
Oh, all right. But yeah,
It wasn't a senior moment.
I'm not doing that now. I don't add any fats to my food. Just I just eat fatty meat, and it works out better that way.
How do you
I
cook your pork chop?
on on the grill
Oh, okay.
every day. I grill it, so it's easy. A pan for the burgers, and the grill for the pork chops. So it works out.
It does. It sounds great.
Clean up
Now,
is
how do you
easy.
feel about people like Sean Baker and other carnivores that are in the, professional initials after their name world? You listen to them.
I do. It was actually I think Sean Baker was the first one who was carnivore, like, publicly. I had actually found out about him through Mike's channel. He said something. I mean, this was a year and a half ago. He made a in one of his videos. He said, "Yeah, I want to be like this guy," and he had a link to Sean, and it's this big jacked up guy who eats nothing but meat. Yeah, I think he has a lot of good things to tell. I prefer his podcast to his actual videos now. Like, it seems like the videos are just kind of vegan bashing and like trying to get views. I mean, not that I'm against vegan bashing in general, but it gets old. So, but like the podcast is good, and I listen to the carnivore cast pretty regularly, and then
I do like his production.
yeah, he's got some good interviews, and then I can't think of the name of it now. The guy who made the documentary, I think, The Magic Pill, or something like that. He's
Tom
working
Naughton.
on no, he's working on the Food Lies
Oh, good.
documentary.
That sounds great. I love the
I
magic
can't
pill.
think of his name.
I can't
Yeah,
either, but
I don't know, but anyways, yeah. So I do like Tom Naughton, actually. His Fathead movie was probably like my first introduction. Well, I mean, not first introduction, but like first recent one that, like, that's when I actually started paying attention, to carbs. Going back, I mean, what's that movie, 10 years old now, almost. So
yeah, and the
um,
and the one for kids is a cartoon. I haven't watched it yet, but I've watched interviews with him talking about it
yeah,
being, it's available now. So, so you have no regrets. You're going to stay carnivore. You
oh
don't have
yeah,
any pulls. Okay, good.
no, yeah, none. I don't plan on ever changing, and yeah, I feel good. It's I when I was doing a keto before going to carnivore, I was kind of following the Dr. Berg approach of like the big salad, moderate protein, except like my protein was higher, because to me, it, like, 4 ounces of protein doesn't seem like enough no matter who you are. So I was probably doing like a half pound, a big salad, but even salads of just a lettuce and onions or like making me feel bloated, So once I cut that out, I haven't felt bloated since, and it's 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 been a long time, and I don't miss it. So you know, I feel pretty good. You know, the energy's good, and you know, uh, Jim is always mentioning his mood, you know, and mental clarity and this and that. You know, I don't know if I have more mental clarity. You know, I was always thinking pretty clearly beforehand, but my mood is definitely like rock solid. You know, I use it to fly off the handle. You know, a temper, whatever. Like, you know, like just get worked up or mad about like little things, and that doesn't happen anymore. You know, I'm pretty calm. You know, like most of the time, and it's, you know, like this is the only thing I can really attribute it to. You know, so between the mood and digestion and being at a healthy weight and feeling good, I don't think I'm going to give this up. So
Tons of nice non-scale victories for sure. Well,
definitely, you know,
Elwood, this has been great getting to know you. And I like your simplicity. It's so much like Jim of beating obesity. It's like me, except, just insert different food items. And it's good to hear you and that you don't get sick of your plan, that it works for you. You're at your weight, you're not pulled, and you wake up alert and go from there. And how is eating OMAD socially for you? This will be my final question.
um, I don't have much of a social life, you know, but like on the rare occasions that we do go to parties, I'll just kind of mingle in and not eat. So, you know, I just save it for when I get home, or I'll eat beforehand, depending like what time we're out. So, yeah,
That's how it is for me too. I ate before my son's wedding because I knew it was going to be
I saw
non.
that. Yeah,
Yeah. And, and it worked. And a few people were like, I could get away with it because I work overnights too. And I could say, it just doesn't work with my digestion to eat at 7 at night. And it's like,
yeah,
and it worked with me. But yeah, so it's the same thing. And I wouldn't want to come home from a social thing at like 8 or 9 at night and eat because it would be the digestion. But so you seem to handle it well.
I do. Yeah.
That's great. It was
So
so good to get to meet you.
it was
And
nice meeting you.
so you'll see the Elwood comments, and I have you scheduled for February, Rabbit, first. Um, and so
Oh
you will
wow.
be,
Okay.
yeah. So it's coming up soon because I wanted to get a male, you know, have him come in, mid female roster. And so yeah,
Yeah.
you will be there on February 1st, and the rest of the world will get to know you. I'm sure that Mike from Keto Mad is delighted, and because I had hinted that maybe you would do it. And so he said, "Oh, I hope you get him." So it's like, great. So thank you so much for being a part of this. I'm going to sign off for both of us,
Okay.
and then I'll see you on the other side.
All
Thank you
right.
so much.
Yep. Thanks. Bye.